Hey guys, it's Eric with Painting Business Pro. I'm here to talk about sales this week. So before we get into sales, I gotta first tell you that I don't know how long this video is going to be, 10 or 20 minutes, but I could talk for several hours about sales. And I've been training myself in sales for 9 years. I've been training my sales manager in sales for 3 years. Sales, you can always get better, and we're going to just scratch the surface. So there are going to be more videos coming about sales. If you want to just get all of it, you can get the course that we're going to be making all about sales. It's going to have hours of video. It's going to have the scripts we use, exactly what to say, exactly how to close, exactly how to do everything that we do about sales to have a really good closing rate. So that's going to be available sometime, but for now we'll keep sending some sales videos. But as I said, we're not going to be able to get through everything because sales is really deep and it's something you could improve on for years. So now let's get to it. So first and foremost, you got to understand that most people suck at sales, especially people in the painting business. Some of the things I've seen, it's just a joke. You know, I've seen people put a bid on the back of a business card. Literally, I went to an estimate and she had my contract there, and I asked her what the other estimate was, and she grabbed a business card, turned it around, and it said $1,700 on it. And he was much lower than me, but I got the job because there's no contract there. Like, that's kind of shady. But people do it. I've also seen people write up a bid and just drop it off. Like, literally put it in a mailbox or leave it on the doorstep and hope they call back to book. I've also seen people go and do an estimate. They meet with a customer and they do a great job and the person likes them. And then they say they'll email the estimate later, and it takes them a week or sometimes 2 weeks to email the estimate to the customer. And it's just insane, because I'll be in communication with the customer and they say, we're waiting on this one other estimate. And I'm like, okay, well, when are you expecting it? Well, he said he'd get it to me by tomorrow. I'm like, oh, what's the holdup? Why is he waiting until tomorrow? I don't know. Tomorrow comes, I call back, have you heard from him? No, he still hasn't sent it over. 2 weeks later, still hasn't sent it. Finally, they're like, look, we're just gonna go with you. Because people suck. Like, they're just not good at sales. They're not professional. And, when people are hiring someone for several $1,000s to paint their home, which is their biggest asset, the most important thing is that it's someone that they feel comfortable with and someone that they trust. And it's really easy to do that because of how bad everybody else is at doing it. So there's a really simple sales process that I would encourage you to use, just to separate yourself. And you could set this up in just an afternoon. So my goal for this video is just to give you something that you could change right now about your sales and have your sales improve. So all the details behind this outline I'm going to run you through, all the scripts and everything, that's going to be in the course. So I'm not going to get into the actual what to say, but just the general process. And you'll be able to improve your sales just from following something like this. So first of all, so a lead comes in, right? So you get a lead, whether it's from door to door, or it's a referral, or it's from one of the lead companies where you're actually buying leads. But either way, you get a lead. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to do an initial call. So the initial call, first of all, you want to do it right away. Don't wait. You'll separate yourself from other companies just by calling people back quickly. Okay, I talked to a woman a couple months ago, and when she finally talked to me, she said she had called 35 painting companies that day and wasn't able to set up an estimate. 35 companies. People are like trying not to get business. People are like banging on the door, like they want to get an estimate from you, and people are not calling them back right away. It's unbelievable how few people actually go after sales. So just call them right away. Just that will make a difference. And when you do the phone call, just a really quick, kind of basic script of how I do it is I just start with, hey, this is Eric, with Foothills Painting. You were looking to get an estimate. Cool. Do you have a couple minutes? Cool. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're looking to get done? I have a short chat with them about what they're planning to do and when they'd like to get the work done. And then I say, okay, cool. Let me tell you how I do my estimates. So I schedule them for about an hour and a half. And first, I'd like to just meet with you and ask some questions to find out exactly what you need and what you want and what you guys are looking to get done. And then most importantly, I want to spend 15 minutes or so walking around the house with you so we can really address the problem areas on your house. And I can let you know what I recommend for those things, and I can also write up a bunch of different options for you so you guys have some things to pick from. Once we've done that, I'm going to go ahead and walk around the house myself, and I'm going to come up with some measurements and come up with the different options that we talked about. Once I've gotten that all written up, I'm going to come back inside and I'll run you through everything that we came up with, answer any other questions you have, and hopefully we can find something that works for you. We'll just kind of see where you want to go from there. Does that sound good? They say yes, I say cool, what's your schedule look like, and we schedule a time. So you want to be detailed to make sure that they're going to be there, and most importantly, when you're setting up the estimate, it's really, really, really important that they know that they're going to be walking around the house with you. Because this is really where you're going to separate yourself from everybody else, is in the details and the options. That's where you're going to build all your value. That's when you're going to build trust and comfort with the customer, that you know what you're talking about. That's where you're going to be able to work up different options that fit what their needs and wants are. So it's really important that you set up the estimate properly, that you're actually going to be meeting with the customer, not giving them what I call a stock estimate. When you give people stock estimates, what's likely going to happen is they just want to get more estimates. The reason I close 70% of my estimates is because I don't give a stock estimate. I give a very custom estimate so that people are getting exactly what they need and want from me. And as long as the price is fair, they just book with me because I got them exactly what they need and want. And the only way to do that is by walking around the house with them. Okay, so now you've set up the estimate. All right, so you have time scheduled. So the next part is actually doing the estimate. Before I get into kind of this process, which I briefly outlined already, but before I get into all the details about it, there's one really important thing to understand about sales. When you care more about your customer than you care about you making the sale, you will be better than everybody else. So when you care more about taking care of the customer than you care about making the sale, you'll sell more than anybody else. And it's a challenging thing to do because you really do have to give up caring about making the sale. And if you truly put the customer's needs and wants first, they'll be able to tell, and it'll build so much trust with you that you'll end up getting the job just because they trust you the most. So a quick example of that, this was only about 3 weeks ago. I did an estimate for a couple, and I was their second estimate. So they had already gotten an estimate from a friend. They worked at a school together. So they had already gotten an estimate from Bill, and Bill's estimate was $3,400. Plus the fence for $300, so it was a $3,700 job. And then my quote was $4,100, and I also said I would do the fence for $300. So that's $4,400, $3,700. So my quote was $700 more, and they actually had a history with this guy. So I gave him the estimate. They called me a couple days later, and Jeff says, Jeff's my customer. He says, so Eric, we're thinking about waiting till next year to do this. We're comparing the estimates, and we were wondering how much more you would charge us to wait until the spring to do this. And you know what I used to do, I would probably pressure the customer and say, well, it's going to cost a lot more if you wait, and da 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 da. And I would try and kind of manipulate them to want to go ahead and just do it now so I can get the job. And I've learned that that is not the most effective way to do sales. And so I was just honest with him, and I said, Jeff, you know, honestly, I think their house will probably be okay if you wait till the spring. And if you call me up, like if you guys decide to wait and you call me up in the spring and you want me to do the job, you know, I'll probably just give you the same price. Like I don't think really much is going to change. So it's really up to you guys. And it was really hard for me to say that because I really wanted his business. And I even told him that. I said, Jeff, it's hard for me to say that because I really do want your business, but you know, honestly, if you wait, it's not going to be a problem. And 2 days later, he called me back and he said, hey, we've talked about it. We want to go with you, and we want to do it this year. And you know, that's one example that happens all the time to me. You know, where I'm the higher bid, and I'm totally cool with people, and I don't pressure them. I don't pressure sale. I offer discounts, but I don't pressure people with them. And that's just an example of taking care of the customer, putting their needs and wants first before mine. You know, because when you really take care of people and you really serve people, and they trust you, they'll go with you. So that's the most important thing for you to understand when you're going out and meeting with them, is put them first, take care of them. And the best way to do that is ask questions to find out what do they need and what do they want. Are they on a budget? If they're on a budget, give them options to save money. If there's areas that don't need to be painted, tell them that. You know, if they are someone who like, they're gonna die in this house and they want a paint job that's bulletproof, that's gonna last forever, okay, well, then give them that and start recommending things for that. But the most important thing is that you start with questions to find out really what do they need, what do they want, what's important to them. That's the first thing you got to do when you get to the estimate. The next thing you got to do is when you walk around the house. So then you're going to say, okay, all right, Mr. Customer, so you know, let's just go take a look at the house. You know, you mind walking around with me? And they say, okay, cool. So then I go outside And I say, cool, so do you have any concerns? What have you noticed? And, you know, they point out peeling here, or cracking here. And then I just start talking to them about it. And I say, okay, so here's what's going on with peeling. This is why it happens, and this is what's gonna happen, and this is what I recommend taking, like, these are the procedures I recommend doing to take care of it. Is that something you'd like me to do? And basically my job on the walk around is to be extremely detailed, looking at their house. So I address every single concern on the house, informing them, you know, of exactly what's going on in their house and what could happen, and letting them know what I recommend doing for those things and, you know, why I recommend them. And then I just ask them, do you want us to do that? Because it's really important that they choose. You don't just say, hey, we're going to scrape, sand, and prime this, cool. You want to actually say, you know, I recommend scraping, sanding, and priming these peeling areas. Is that something you would like us to do? They say yes, and they actually have the experience of customizing the job for themselves. I also would encourage you to take, you know, be really detailed, as I said, give them different options. So if they're uncertain, offer it as an option. If you know, I just try to give as many options as I can so people can kind of pick and choose. The other thing I would always take notes and write things down as I go around the house with them, because that makes a real difference when you go into the end of the estimate and there's things that you talked about with them that they already forgot about, but you didn't because you wrote it down and it's on the contract. And when you are more on top of it than they are, that builds even more trust. So you finish walking around with the customer, and at the end of walking around the house, I like to just kind of wrap everything up, like, you know, okay, cool, so we're going to use this paint, we're going to do this prep work, and I'm going to give you this option for the whole house, this option for the trim, an option for the deck separate, and, you know, we'll also give you an option for that room inside. Is that everything we talked about? Okay, cool, give me 20 minutes, and I'm going to go get this written up for you. So then I go outside and I write up my whole estimate. I've got a nice, you know, contract that I use, and I'll include that with the whole sales course, so that you've got all the materials that you need to look like a professional. Then you write out your contract, make sure it looks neat and it's clean and it's detailed. And then I go back in the house and I sit down with them and I say, okay, cool, let me run you through this. I run them through everything. I say, cool, did I get everything? All right. Well, here's this price, here's this price, here's this price. So, what do you guys want to do from here? What do you think? Or, and I just kind of talk to them about it. And we kind of go from there, and if they want a couple days to think about it, I give them a couple days to think about it. And if they want to get another estimate, I just make sure that I got everything that they want and need, that they're happy with me, and they think the price is fair. And as long as I met all those things, if they want to get a couple other estimates, I might ask them why, but I'm gonna support people in doing what they need to do to figure out what they want, and people are gonna appreciate that. But it is important that you don't just get blown out the house. So we'll get into a lot more details about closing and about what you need to do to make sure that you close those jobs down and they don't slip through your fingers. So we'll get into the details about closing scripts and call scripts and selling cycles and all kinds of little details that I could talk to you about for hours. But for now, implement this system, set up good detailed estimates, take care of people before you take care of yourself, and follow this basic process, and you will look like a more professional, reliable, detailed contractor than 90% of the people out there. So go and implement it, tell me your results, and we'll see you in the next video.